Get ready for the Bob Graham Experience.
Hey folks, you're in for a treat today. I've got an interview with Mark Graham. Yes, same last name, not the same mother, not the same father, totally different. But Mark and I go back the last couple of years. He is just sheer brilliant when it comes to business strategy, business vision. In the interview, we talk about technology, we talk about direct mail, we talk about some marketing, we talk about leadership, we talk about how to track your business and your business's growth. It is one of those interviews that you don't want to miss a minute of. So, without further ado, I want to give you my interview with Mark Graham of The Performance Coach. And if you're looking for more on him, you can go to theperformancecoach.biz. He's got a whole bunch of information and resources that'll really help you figure out your small business journey. I talk to Mark all the time. He is insightful. He is thoughtful. He hears things and sees things that I don't hear and see about my own business and brings them to the forefront. So if you're looking for someone to help you build your business, or if you're looking for someone just to be a good resource for you, because Mark knows lots of people and lots of software and hardware solutions, then Mark Graham is your guy. So without further ado, here's my interview. Hey, Mark, I really appreciate you being with us. So I can't wait to get into your story. You and I have talked a lot over the last couple of years. You're one of those guys that calls me late in the afternoon every couple of weeks and checks in on me, which I love. And I was thinking in prepping for this that I don't know your full story. So let's go back to square one. Walk me through your career and how you get to where you are today and what that is today.
Yeah, wow. All the way back. Okay, well, I'm just a good old Southern boy, I guess. I'm from Biloxi, Mississippi, and anyway, was very blessed in the world of baseball, where I was actually held accountable for a lot of things, where you have to go up to bat, you have to see how many hits you get, so you get measured on how well you do and how well you perform, and went on to college and was able to play ball there and all over the country, and was blessed. And then from there, went right to graduate school over at LSU, and the degree really doesn't fit my personality, but my degree is in quantitative business analysis with an emphasis in statistics. So most people will tell me that the class they hated the most in school was statistics. Well, while there, I got a real passion for small businesses. And what I was able to do, and it's still true to this day, I'm the only person that's ever developed a bankruptcy prediction model for small businesses using financial statements, balance sheets, and income statements to actually identify ratios that would find what businesses might be in trouble or be predicted to go bankrupt. So what that allowed me to do was to learn a skill that predicted responses to something, responses to direct mail piece, responses to a click, responses to whatever. And I started my career out sometime back in the direct marketing space, and it grew through the database marketing world, where I was able to go into large organizations and help them put strategies together. And the strategies that they were able to put together were all quantitative based. I tell you that only to say this. Everything I do today is the performance coach is quantitative based. We look at a baseline. We're looking at trying to get you to perform better, if you will, enhance your profitability through our proven process, and that'll help you get there. And that's all very measurable. I was able to spend time with great organizations across the country, like the Equifaxes, the American Expresses of the world, Axioms of the world, and be in some great boardrooms. But what I've been able to do in the last 7 years is kind of craft the whole idea behind the performance coach and go in and help smaller organizations really accomplish their personal and professional goals as a business owner.
So you're talking about numbers, and I know for a lot of small business owners, the idea of numbers is scary. I know a lot of the people watching or listening to this are going, oh, I really don't want to track my numbers that closely. If I look at them, it's going to be really depressing. I know people that don't do their financials until their taxes are due. I know people that couldn't tell you how many leads came from an ad or from a direct mail piece. Can you talk big picture about why numbers are so important to small business and where
Yeah,
they
well,
really play a role?
yeah, absolutely. Well, at a very, very macro level, a big picture, what I really think the numbers are is they're basically going to be, if you will, this point that you have that you've got set in time. Here's one of the biggest things that I say that the biggest issue of organizations are. When I was in big organizations, I hated going to those meetings where you had to come up with your vision. However, I can tell you this, your vision may be the most critical thing you ever do, and you can ask that in different ways. The other way to ask that is, what do you want to accomplish with your company when you are ready to get out? Okay, so that puts a stakeholder in place. And going back to the numbers, then you've got, if you will, a priority or a goal in this particular instance of where you want to go. Do I want to sell it? Do I want to be part of a larger organization? Do I want to do the succession planning down to my children? Whatever that might be, I can then say from there, I can get there through sub-tasks, through sub-goals, through ways that I can get things, if you will, accomplished that's really going to help me personally and professionally. So the numbers are important because we get to measure success. Success is defined by where you want to go. Success is different for everybody. Success for my father was getting out of the backwoods of pulpwooding and putting 2 kids through school that got master's degrees. Success for you may be growing to $5 million. Success for someone else may be being able to pass a legacy down to business. So the numbers are so important, and the criterion behind that, what we like to call OKRA, the key results, are very important to document when you start and to measure along the way.
So, Mark, a lot of small business owners really don't know where they want to go. They started a business because it was a passion. They started a business because they lost a full-time job and they needed to do something. It was a hobby and they got involved with the hobby and it just sort of took off. So a lot of times I think it's hard to look at the end first. How do you help someone negotiate that?
Well, it's quite an elaborate process a lot of times. Some people go years before they understand where they want to go, quite honestly. However, let's take a situation where somebody's forced into a situation where they need to go earn money, therefore they start a business. Oftentimes they're like a tactician or somebody that's very technically oriented. What we do is, let's go back to numbers. We start everything that we do, regardless of who we work with the business owners or leaders and the business itself, and try to find out what the assessment is of where they are in their, if you will, their journey. Okay. On the personal level, we're going to find out and try to identify those areas where they're very good. We're going to identify those areas where they may need some help. And we're going to identify those areas where they may never want to touch it at all. Now, when you do that, what you have to do is you have to sit there with people and say, what you need to do is you need to bring along some people to help you and or get people involved to help you so you can get to the next level using skills that you don't possess. If you make the best widgets in the world, you probably are not the person that's going to make the trains run on time and be that manager. If you're that manager, you're probably not going to be that person that's going to have that entrepreneurial foresight and say, hey, if I can do that in this section of the country, I can possibly do it in 3 other sections and maybe go, if you will, nationwide. Now, why is that important and what do you do to help people get to that? What you've got to do is you've got to really sit down. And if they don't have that defined, and I'm always envious of people who know how to do that right away because it took me a long time. But the idea is that if you don't know where you're going, let's just kind of start to say, where are you today? I'm at X. Where do you want to be in a year? Well, I'd like to be here. In fact, I just did this with an entrepreneurial startup down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They didn't know what they really wanted to do, but they knew they wanted to have revenues of X amount of dollars. I said, okay, is that revenue or is that what you want to put in your pocket? Well, really, I'd like to be able to put that much in my pocket. Okay, well, then we got to come back here to a different ground set and figure out if you want to put that in your pocket, what the cost to run the business is, what your tax obligation is going to be, what you're going to do for retirement, What are you going to do for product costs? What are you going to do? So all of a sudden, you don't need to just sell, let's just use a round number of $100,000. You need to sell maybe 2.5 times of that because of all the costs associated with it. You've got to ask them in story form. You got to sit down, you got to talk to them about where they want to go. And quite frankly, in the statistical world, it's really a procedure called non-parametric statistics, because you don't have the ability to go in and say, I've got a firm number. You've got to get input, qualitative input, to get a quantitative number.
Now, some people I'm sure are going, that sounds really great, Mark, but what if I tell you I want to do X? I want to sell my business in 10 years, but 2 years from now, I decide, you know what? There's a big company that wants to partner with me. Mm-hmm. And that sounds really good because they do Y and we could really make a lot of money. What happens in that scenario? Because I know a lot of people have left corporate worlds to be small business owners, to not have the structure, to not have the, I've got to achieve this to get to that. And you're really advocating, if I understand correctly, you need to know what the that is and the this is to get there.
Well, now let's be careful.
Okay.
Not everybody out there who is running a successful business, let me say that again, not everybody out there who is running a successful business has, one, a vision, or two, a strategic plan.
Okay.
But let me explain something to you. If you had a vision, and in their minds they probably do have a vision, they just don't know how to bring it out of their, inner workings, if you will. And if they don't know how to do that, they can still go out there. And if they don't have a strategic plan, a lot of people I know don't have a strategic plan. In fact, they just think those are just, cuss words, if you will. We still can get there easier if we know what we're shooting for, because let's look at this. If you don't know where you're going, anywhere is okay. Okay?
Okay.
That's a problem. If you don't know where you're going, anywhere you go is okay. However, what is it you really want to do? You really got to get down to that and you say, hey, that's what's going to, can you go along for 2, 3, 5, 10 years? Sure. I've worked for people like that. I also worked for people that were what I call the last book read managers, okay? Every Monday morning, I'm the president of the company running. I got the CEO coming in saying, hey, this Monday we need to do this. It's not in our plan. Well, I read about this. Well, what should I do? I go, maybe you need to quit reading over the weekends, because right now that's not helping us with our plan. Are there people doing it? Absolutely. Are there people doing it that could do better, quicker, more efficiently, more effectively, and accelerate that growth better with a plan? Absolutely.
Does it have to be wrapped around revenue, or could it be wrapped around something else? So, for instance, I want to help 2,000 people write business books, lead generation books. Would that qualify in your situation, or does it have to be, I want to generate X number of dollars this year and next year?
Well, it doesn't have to be revenue, but let me explain something to you. And I don't know how the economic majors are out there, but at some point you've got a light bill to pay. Some point you've got a rent to pay. And one of the things that drives me nuts today is these people that go, I just want to do something that I'm happy doing. And my question to them is, will it pay the rent? Okay. Now, at some point, what you've got is you've got a correlation of how many books you help people write, how many widgets you sell, how many not-for-profits you help. Because right now, quite frankly, I do some pro bono work for not-for-profits. Does it help to my bottom line? You're darn right it does. You know why? Because I am using the experiences in there to help others grow. But at the end of the day, you can only do that for so long if you're not generating some type of revenue. Now, does every business out there know what EBITDA is? Probably not. In fact, I would suggest to you that 90% don't know what EBITDA is. All right, I'm on the golf course 2 weeks ago, and a guy's a business lawyer. He helps people sell businesses, and he goes, we're sitting there with 4 of us. He goes, what size businesses are you working with? Do they have at least an EBITDA of around $5 to $7 million? The other 2 guys look at each other that run successful businesses. They go, what is he talking about? I says, well, earnings before interest, tax, and amortization. I mean, come on, guys, where have you been?
Wait, say that slower, because some people are going, what's EBITDA? And you've got to walk them through it. Now, you owe them that.
Oh, well, so it's going to be EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, and amortization. And some people will change the A little bit, or some people will add one more on there. But what are your earnings before interest, tax, and amortization is a measure that people look at to identify growth. Do I work with that? I can tell you 80% of my customers I don't work with that at this point, because they're not trying to do that. They're trying to hit other goals that they have in place. So your question was, does it have to be revenue? The answer is absolutely not. However, comma, at some point, it comes back to how much revenue are you going to generate, okay? And that all starts with that vision I was talking about. Let me explain something to you. Vision defines a destination that is worth every step, even when, to achieve success, every step is not clearly defined, okay? Right. So that vision defines that destination, and it defines the steps that you got to take to do it along the way, even when all of those steps aren't really defined to get to success.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot to process. Are there other key numbers that you look at with the business, typically a small business, to keep track beyond revenue? And what are some of those, and why are they important?
Well, I mean, certainly you look at even going back to the study I did years ago about the bankruptcy prediction model, number of employees, years in service, that type deal makes sense. However, let's get down to the, to the nuts and bolts of it. Expenses are a huge issue, especially what we're experiencing now. We're seeing different costs that have gone up dramatically in various areas. That's not only in, if you will, the consumer world. It's also in the supplier world, what you got to do. What do your cost of goods look like? Absolutely. So, let's go back to what profit is, and that is the subtraction of expenses from revenue. All right. So you have to look at what those are. What are your office costs? What are right now I've got huge software costs, because we use a lot of software to accomplish what we're trying to do, whether you're using some type of a CRM, whether you're reaching out to people using some type of writing tools, even Microsoft Office and that type of stuff, are expenses. Understanding. So is revenue the only number? Absolutely not. However, those are two you can, somewhat control sometimes. But looking at having a number that's associated with vendors is also important. What you can do to maximize discounts, and that gets back to cost. And the whole thing about cost is what you can do also to take advantage of other opportunities out there. Those are huge. So I hope that answers what you're trying to get to with that. But, revenue is big. And if you look globally, number of years in business, number of employees you have, based on the type of industry is, you can look at what type of employees you have, number of employees you have to the industry average. You can get an index to see where you fall. But costs are huge.
What are some of the numbers that you see owners typically looking at that really don't matter? So let's turn that around.
Well, that's a good thing. I mean, we can get back to the whole response idea too. Let's go back to the days of, back when the catalog days, back in the direct mail pieces to somebody when you used to stuff my box. I mean, I got accused so many times, even by relatives, of stuffing their box with direct mail. But quite frankly, I said, really, I use quantitative procedures to go in and tell you that we're going to only send those to people that want them. If you don't resemble that particular customer, you're not going to become a prospect for that organization. Some of the other numbers that drive me nuts are, we mailed this many direct mail pieces. Okay, that's one. Well, we mailed this many, or we got this many click-throughs. That's nice. I got this many likes today. Really? That's awesome. Let me go back to my question. Of those clicks, of those likes, how'd that help you in the rent this month?
Right.
Sometimes we need to bring our scope in, and we need to understand. Here's some other numbers. I just worked with a group over in Oklahoma. How many new customers did you get this week? They have a goal of getting one new, it's for a life insurance company. They have a goal of getting one new life customer per week. Doesn't sound like a lot there in rural Oklahoma. That's okay. That's great. How many phone calls did you make? How many people answered the phone? How many of them said, yes, I'll get a meeting? You got to understand what your objective is. Also from that is, how many networking events did you go to? How many cards did you pass out? How many did you get? How many cards did you get if you're a B2B type company? How many people do you know that moved into your area last month? And of those people that moved into your area, let's just do some geofencing and let's just take half of a zip code. How many moved into that half of a zip code? How many did you contact? How many of them got your offer to come see you? So those are very important numbers. So if in fact you know that there was 2,000 people that moved into my area in the last 60 days, it means nothing unless you go out there and contact them. 3 words to live by: data, knowledge, and action. Data is they moved into the area. Knowledge is you know they're new movers. The action is you need to get off your donkey, okay? You need to get off your donkey and go talk to those people.
Which brings us to, you have a book that talks about that. So walk us through that book, give us the title, and what it tries to present.
Well, let me back up a minute, because we've got the book not where it ought to be yet. We are in the process of writing a book called Get Off Your Donkey, and really it looks at what you do about getting things done. But let's back all the way up into what we think about with segmentation and what you ought to do. Let me give you this quote. Okay, help me finish this, Bob. It's not what you know,
it's who you know.
Okay, I want to challenge you on that. Okay, it's not what you know, it's not who you know. Rather, you ready for this? It's what you know about who you know. Okay.
Okay.
Now, it's what you know about who you know. The people moved in, we know that. We know they're new movers. That's our knowledge. We know how to contact them. But how do you contact them, given that you can go in and say, they tend to be this age, this income, this gender? All data you can get readily available at your local Data R Us store, okay? And that's all legal, all right? The book you're referencing that we're in the process of writing is to help you with that third word, and that's action. Data, knowledge, and action, and that's to get up and go do it, because if you don't, you can procrastinate. Everything can get in your way. Facebook can get in your way. The phone can get in your way. It can all get in your way. It all gets in your way. Kids, spouses, the lawn man gets in your way. I first started working out of the house in 1998, and the biggest thing I had to do was make sure I met the sprinkler man when he came there and says, you don't understand, I'm working, okay? Now, I'm working. I got to take time out. That's a distraction. You look at a phone call, which you can see from research now is one phone call disrupts 20 minutes of your day every day. Okay. Some people will say that. I don't know if I buy 20, but let's just say it's 2. If it disrupts you from your vision of getting those subtasks done to reach your vision, has it helped you? No. Has it helped you pay the rent? No. So those are the kind of things you got to do. The book, in the works now. We're finishing it up. Get off your donkey. And it's all about motivating you to get fired up, to get out there, to get your goal accomplished. Not so much in a faster way, but in a steady way that keeps you going. See, we do that because we're business growth experts. You know, businesses who partner with us experience that accelerated growth and enhanced profitability by using our processes, and that empowers them to go out and accomplish their personal and professional goals. And that's what it's all about. Many business owners often get stuck in a rut, or they simply want to grow their company at a more rapid rate. That's where we come in and help them out.
So what I'm getting from this, Mark, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that really, at the end of the day, all the numbers, all the quantitative stuff that you're doing really is about accountability, right?
I can tell you that I'm going to say 85% of the people that hire me will say at either the top or at least one of the top 3 reasons that they work with the performance coach is for accountability. Because, you know, even me, I've got accountability partners. Everybody needs to have their feet held to the fire, okay? They need someone to call and say, hey, here's your goal. Has it changed? No. Here's all the people that moved into your area, right? Yep. Have you called all of them today? Have you called all of them this week? Have you accomplished that? Have you looked at the insurance you're trying to get for your family? Have you gone out and said, hey, I've got to have some type of transportation. I've got to look at a more efficient way to do it because I'm getting around. What is it? But if you can get those things identified, accountability is huge. And that's one of the things that I do to help people out quite a bit.
Okay, so Mark, I'm going to be brutally honest. We didn't prep this. You've been talking about vision, and I am really cloudy on my vision.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to take 10 minutes here, or however, a couple minutes, and sort of coach me into better understanding my vision?
Sure.
Okay, because I think it's an important part of this in your mind. And I think I get the logic of it, but I'm not sure I understand how you implement it. So
right.
Ask me what you have to ask me.
I'll be happy to do it. I'll go off script a little bit than what we usually do. We actually have 5 questions that we work with people that help them understand what they want to do. And from that, we help them craft their vision to do it. But let me say this before I get into the exercise. A good vision defines a destination that is worth every step. And when every step to achieve success is still undefined. So we may not define everything for you right now. Remember I said that may not be. But here's one of the things that I would say is, if you can kind of picture the question coming from someone that just has their feet kicked up onto the coffee table, and we got our coffee cup. I'm an old guy, coffee cup, so it could be a latte. It's for some others. My thing is
my coffee cup right
here. You go. See, I can already start channeling you here. So one of the things that I would ask you would be is, Bob, what is it that you do? I want to go back to this unique selling proposition. Bob, what is it that you do that is different from everyone else out there?
Oh,
I'm sorry, we got stumped all the way. Look, and that's fine. Don't get hung up on that. But, and Bob, what of that you do that is different, how do you plan to do that that's going to change what's going on in your industry and leave a legacy like you want it to?
Okay, wow, that's some heavy lifting. But I guess let's play this exercise out a little bit, and that is, for me, I'm helping people largely write books, lead generation books, and those, because of my training as a journalist, because of my experience in marketing, because of my experience teaching college writing and composition courses, and my coaching of small business owners, I have 4 ways to attack it, which I think is unique compared to someone who knows how to write, or someone who knows marketing, or someone who knows coaching. So I think that combination of 4 things really positions me uniquely to help someone create a book that's going to serve their purposes, rather than, you can write an AI book. You can write, in the time you listen to this podcast, you can write an AI book. But it's not going to speak to the audience.
Right. So my question then becomes is, what do you want to do that makes you different than everyone in your industry, if you've got a defined industry, and how that's going to help them in the future?
Well, I think it's working with small business owners that are smaller than the big companies, companies that are in that up and coming space, companies that are under $1 million in revenue or up to $5 million in revenue, really moving the dial for them, because it's easier to go out. You can write a lead generation book for a company that makes $20 million. That's a drop in the bucket to them to write that book.
Right.
But for a small business owner, I like when a small business owner sees tangible results from, my one client, we wrote a book and he got 4 referrals within the first month.
Right.
I mean, that to me is what, money's great. Believe me, I need to pay my light bill, like you said, but the story at the end of the day that I tell you isn't about revenue. It's about the experience.
Okay. So you just said something in that question. Before we move to the next question, it was very important for me to hear. My business owners and my customers, I want to see them experience a tangible result. Okay. Now, where do you want to see yourself? And let's not get crazy with this. 12 months from now, and then also 5 years from now. What would you like to see yourself in 12 months first, and then in 5 years from now?
You want a number, a financial?
What I would like to know is if I can give a quantitative number, that would be helpful.
Okay.
But more importantly, to your point, it sounds like you have a social interest in helping your people succeed through tangible results. What would you like to see? How many lives would you like to have affected in the first 12 months and then the next 4 years, 60 months?
Well, I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to give you a money answer because I've thought a lot about it. So my vision is next August 1st, I will have generated $1 million from this effort.
Okay.
And then in 5 years, the goal would be 10 to 15 million.
Right. All right. Okay. Fantastic. Now,
and that scares the heck out of me to say that out loud.
I got you. I know somebody that can help you. But anyway, here's the deal. What is your big, audacious legacy that you want to leave whenever you decide to close up shop, to sell it, to do whatever? What is your big, audacious legacy that you want to leave when you decide to put down that pen?
A bookshelf with 2,000 books that I helped small business owners write. Okay.
So the answers to those questions in our mind would all be aggregated together. If we were doing this really, you and I, one-on-one, whether it's via Zoom, which we do a lot of that with, or it's one-on-one, shoulder to shoulder, we would have those answers to those statements and questions up on a board, and then we would craft a way of saying, here's what we want to do to accomplish, and here's what we want to craft our vision statement to be, putting that stake in the ground. Okay? That's what we're doing. We're going to take those answers, we're going to massage those answers, and we're going to say that what I really want to do is, we're in the business of giving back to the small business community that's going to help them accomplish their personal and professional goals through the efforts that we provide. And if we do that, we help grow the world.
Okay.
Now, I just said it like that, and you just did it to me. It's the first time I've ever heard it. It's the first time I said it's off my cuff. I would certainly put some more rigor to that. But that's your stake in the ground. And then we would work on your mission about how you're going to get those done. We would set up sub-tasks, sub-goals. We would put priorities in place, and I'll get off on priorities in a little bit.
All right, Mark, you're starting to sell me on this whole idea. I'm starting to think I need to hire you.
Well, there you go. Hey, today's bargain day. It's Wednesday, right? So
that's right.
Yeah, but once you get that,
that's what it looks like.
That's how we go through it. And quite frankly, I believe we can get you 5 vision statements that you could work with that crafts your overall vision statement. If we had 85% of 5 of them, you can craft one using 5 questions. So we've got that. I won't
so
go
it's
into
not that overwhelming to someone.
I'm sorry?
It's not overwhelming to someone. I mean, those weren't questions. Those were certainly questions that you and I didn't talk about this in advance, so I was hitting them cold.
Right.
I don't know. I've thought about this a lot, and I think most of the owners I work with are thinking about these things.
Right.
But I don't think they're taking the thought and applying the thought to saying it out loud. There's and I can tell you, when I gave you those numbers, it scares the crap out of me. It just does.
Right.
Not that it's not unreasonable. It's just now there's an accountability just by telling you, because when you call me in 3 weeks, you're going to say, okay, Bob, how you doing? and that for a lot of owners, I think that's a scary proposition because suddenly the game is real.
Well, you don't want to get, and this is a great scenario. You really don't want to be the business owner that gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar. You remember when you were a little kid and you got that cookie and mom came around the corner or whatever, dad came around the corner. What are you doing, son? Well, nothing. And you had Oreos all over your mouth. Really? He got caught. What you don't want to do is you don't want to get caught not planning for this. You don't want to get caught without a stake in the ground. You don't want to get caught without all those little subtasks that's going to get you there. What you can do is change the ways you get there, but you better keep that vision.
And do you find businesses that you work with that can't come up with a vision, or it's too late? They've missed the boat on the vision and they're swimming backwards and they'll never get to shore?
Well, I think there's a lot of businesses I mentioned before that don't have vision statements. Is it too late? It's never too late, because we can always do. I mean, look at what's gone on out there right now. We've seen it go on in the restaurant industry and the retail industry. What's gone on out there? We're going to lose some. We're going to pick up a few others, but the Sonics made a great recovery. There's other people out there that you can say made great. Chipotle had to make a big recovery when they separated from McDonald's. Whatever goes on, I mean, there's always ways to go back there and do it. Sometimes the filing of that bankruptcy is a way to say, hey, let's clear the slate. Let's get out there and let's make sure we do it. And let's make sure we got the right team in place now. But there's always a way that you can go in and, right the ship or put a plan into place to right the ship. It's never too late. Will it always happen? Well, sometimes, but it's never too late, and there's always an option.
So I want to take a radical shift here, if I may, Mark.
You're talking about baseball?
No, you're a technology first guy.
Okay.
You understand a lot about technology. You use it in your company in a lot of ways. Help me understand where you see technology in the small business world and some of the ways that you're using it or starting to see how you can use it, because, AI, artificial intelligence, is coming on. I know you've used some of that in what you do. So you're one of those guys that can really give us some insights. So what do you got?
Well, I mean, let's go back to what you're going to try to get accomplished. I mean, I got a buddy I just spent almost a month with that ran a roofing company that made great money, put several $1 million in the bank and retired, and never looked at a computer. Are those days over? Maybe. Can you still do it and not have to do that? It's tougher. I think you need to be technically literate in several things. I mean, you take a look at what you can do with, you just choose your weapon. I think you're an Apple guy. I'm a PC guy. I always have been. I'm an Android guy. You're an Apple guy. Just a lot, but just understanding that, don't be afraid. And these kids today, to be quite honest with you, are not scared to turn on the computers, to click down, to see something like that. However, let's talk about some of the things that now go on those devices that happen with that. CRM came about, the term came back in the mid 80s, and
customer relations, management systems.
Yep. CRM comes on. Today you've got a couple of really good packages going on out there with Go High Level and Clixio, and what you can do as far as what you want to do that. Understanding the overall workings of that as far as how it collects customers and contacts, and also how you can put your sales processes in there and track that, I think is very important. I think technology-wise, it's easier to put sales processes in customer relationship management CRM systems. However, there's companies out there that make a lot of money that don't do that, but you can't do that, especially in today's digital world. You need to know social media platforms. I've chosen to pick 4 of them. That's what I use. If it gets into something that's just coming along, I mean, I've not done as much with Alignable as I probably should. However, we are on the LinkedIns of the world, the Facebooks of the world, the X's of the world, and the Instagrams of the world. Understanding what those can do for you is very important. Now, do you need to have some, you brought up AI. I've been using AI since 1991, all right? AI was used early on to do response analysis, to predict things. Quick story is that the first time I saw AI is when we keyed it in to have it search all these learned databases for the word bank. B-A-N-K. Most of us, when we say bank, think of an institution, a brick and mortar place that you can go to. It's also on the side of a river. It's also something NASCAR drivers do when all they do is turn left. They bank off of something. Bank can also mean you can take that to the bank as a phrase to mean it's reputable. When I saw them do that, I went, wow, that's pretty cool. So the whole technology has evolved out of the neural nets, the genetic algorithms, to coming up with what AI is doing now. That today, one thing that people are often doing, you've mentioned it a couple of times, they're writing books with it, they're doing correcting with it. You're seeing now all of the online services. I think even what Chrome's got is they've got the application there that says if you just do a search through Google, Google will come up with their AI tool to say it looks like it's this, and then gives you everything below that. Do I think you need to know every one of those things, from start to finish? Absolutely not. Do you need to understand what you want to get accomplished to get that vision out there? You certainly do need to do that. So when you start asking me questions like that, if you want to get into programs, there's certainly a lot of programs out there you can use for AI, of course, ChatGPT or some type of program like that, whatever somebody's doing to kind of copy that or whatever. If you look at the Gamma apps, if you look at the Pictory apps, those types of things out there are certainly very good. I've been a user of TechSmith for 22 years now. And what they're doing with some of their programs out there that includes AI is very cool. Do you need to know everything? Absolutely not. You can know how they work and what they can do to distribute and put outcome out there for you, whatever it may be, whether it's a decisioning process or whether it's a part of a paragraph or a book or just correcting your grammar. Grammarly, they're incorporating all this stuff now. My point is, you need to learn what's out there, stay on top of it with the blogs, with the podcast, with other readings. Find people that you can read and learn about that, but always check what those AI things are doing.
Okay. And you talked earlier about starting in direct mail. Mm-hmm. Is direct mail still viable? And if so, why? Yeah. Because I hear both sides of that. I'm curious your thoughts.
It's huge. It's very viable. In fact, there's a resurgence of it going on now because there's a personal touch to it, that it comes in your mailbox. You do get information about. People do like to get coupons. They do like to be notified that way. And sometimes there's this overabundance of gluttony onto a PC or a phone that things get in the way. They get missed. Direct mail does work. I will tell you this. The number one thing that I've seen change over the course of the years is that people are now returning to direct mail and using it in combination with other digital methods like email, like texting, and other things like that. The privacy is a lot less invasive with direct mail than it is with electronic devices.
Interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. Well, think about it. You're not getting texts. Does everyone turn their phone off at night? If not, you may be getting texts from people you didn't even know you were signing up for, be it from that realtor that you were looking at a property out there or from somebody that's trying to sell you something on Amazon. So it's a lot less invasive. All you got to do is throw it away. Does it help the planet? Well, we're getting better at that. There's recycling going on. There's different types of papers and things that you can use. But does direct mail work? Yes. Is it good to use it in a combination of things? Absolutely. And just looking at the customer journey of people who do things, we've seen a big shift in consumers with respect to how they purchase online. And it could be they go to the big store, the big warehouse store now. They check things out, handle it, make sure it's okay, if you will, and go back and order it online. However, getting direct mail pieces can, help with that response, with that type of activity of what you want them to do, understanding that direct mail is going to help in other digital touches, in other ways that you can have a touch point for that particular customer or prospect. So does it work? Yes.
Does it work business to business or business to consumer or both?
Yeah, it works in both. I see it in both. So
Okay. And you do some of that now, right?
I still do. You know, I've got one client that will still do 6.5 million pieces a year for. And it is to provide them with a nice incentive, having been a customer. They currently are a customer, and they're helping them with their loyalty. And it helps them, just reminds them. People do like reminders. And I'll tell you, oversized postcards printed 4-color on 2 sides will be a nice reminder sitting on your kitchen cabinet, because I often get reminded to get those things off my kitchen cabinet by my wife.
Well, it's the same thing with the books I help people write.
Right.
You know, a signed book sits on the shelf.
Yeah, right.
And when you want to throw it away, you go, oh, I can't throw it away because Bob signed this book. And I've seen people do that.
Yeah,
I have a friend who has it on his coffee table just because every time I come over, he wants to show that Bob, I still have your book. I don't know if he pulls it off the shelf or out of the trash can right before that, but it stays. And I think in this day and age where business cards are a dime a dozen, and my dry cleaner probably sees more of my business cards at the end of the week than me, I think we're looking for alternatives. What's fascinating to me is that when you talk about the success of direct marketing and mailing, we're really going back a long way.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
30, 40 years ago, that was really one of the key ways: TV, radio, door-to-door, and direct mail. And now we see it coming back again. And the cost of mailing now is probably 15 times what it was. It was like 9 cents in the late 70s, right?
Oh, man, it was, we could get discount rates by doing bulk, and you wouldn't have to go first class. It was way down. I mean, like everything else, it's gone up in price, so. But you bring something up, though, about direct marketing. It's kind of interesting that people don't even realize it happened. You're familiar with the term soap opera, I'm sure. I mean, as a guy growing up here, I'll probably lose my man card here, but there was one that I watched the soap operas. But where did soap operas start?
Which one did you watch? I'm curious.
All my children. So
okay, I was a General Hospital guy.
Well, that was after that one. I had to be on the field by then, but I could get all my children in to see what Erica was up to before I went out, and then Luke and Laura took over. But anyway, I'm really losing my man card now. But what we saw with soap operas, people don't realize the soap operas started on the radio, or as they call it in England, the wireless. And what they did was Ivory Soap came in, and they were the major sponsor. So what it became was a story. At that time, it was sponsored by a soap product, and it was called soap opera. So that's where, direct mail actually started way back before then. I love to give the history of it. I got a course on that I do with, Mr. Sears and Mr. Roebuck, and what they did to sell watches along the train line. And, there you go. So does it work? Yes. Does it need to be used in combination with things? Absolutely. So,
You also have a lot of courses. You mentioned courses a minute ago. You have a lot of courses that you offer. Talk a bit about what they're designed to do, the structure of them, and how we might access them, Mark.
Yeah, we got several courses that we do. We're accessing them through Zoom and one-on-one, or one on several, as we do training. The premier one, the one that's that we promote to everyone, is BizMap Boogie. And BizMap Boogie is
BizMap Boogie. You are literally saying the word boogie as in dance, right?
I am saying the word boogie because you got to get down with this thing. You got to understand what's going on. It's a lightweight business planning system. It goes through the vision, the mission, what you're going to do to set up your strategic plan. Teaches you how to do everything that's going to get you going to either start your business, or when that business owner gets stuck in a rut or just wants to grow their business, how they can take it to the next level. It includes an all-encompassing course on what you do regarding from nuts to bolts. We actually go through a long time on helping you create your unique selling proposition just in that course. You need to be different than everybody out there. BizMap Boogie, drop dead course. It's fabulous. Everyone should go through it. That's one. Another one is what we
How do we access that course, Mark?
Yeah,
if I wanted to get my hands on it.
We've got an online access that we can provide to you, or we're going to be doing what we call performance groups, where you and 2 other business owners, there'd be 4 of us, there's 3 of you guys, 1 of me, And we get in there and we do it through what is called, the traditional word is masterminds. We call them performance groups because we want you to be more of a performer in what you're doing. We actually have a course too that we're just getting up online. All of these ones I'll talk about now are just through Zoom or in person. The unique selling proposition. If you don't know what your unique selling proposition is, we have a course to help you do that. We also have a course on performance goal setting. What do you do out there to set your goals? Now, quite frankly, I don't talk about goals as much as a lot of people do because I talk about priorities. Okay? In the book and the study of BizMap Boogie, we talk about setting your priorities as part of your strategic planning. And part of that strategic planning leads to your tactical marketing plan. What does that mean? Well, it means how many people are we going to try to get as new customers on social media? How many we're going to get through networking? How many we're going to get through phone calling, whatever? What is your tactical plan to get you there? If you go back to what we're doing with goal setting, in that BizMap Boogie, what we're talking about is priorities. Okay? Priorities make up three things. Priorities make up goals. Okay? And priorities make up opportunities, but they also make up problem solving. Okay? So here's the deal. I work with leaders all the time to share with them that they probably ought not to cast their vision with all goals in mind. Remembering and understanding that if you say the words goals into a room of people, you're going to lose 85% of the people. Okay? Now, why is that? Because 85% of the people are problem solvers, only 10% are goal setters. Well, you go, okay, Graham, that's not good math there. I go, okay, 5% are what we call the opportunity to just say, put me in, coach. Okay? I'm going to be here from 8 to 5. I'm going to help you do everything. I'm going to be very loyal. I just want to do my work, go home and take care of other things. But 85% of the people in the world are problem solvers. I raise my hand. I'm one of those. Of the 10% who are goal setters, only 50% of those guys write down and accomplish their goals. Okay? So goal setting is
Where are we drawing these numbers, Mark, from? I'm curious.
Well, I've got some research that shows it could be even different than that, but this is out of a book that I've got. I'll have to get it to you with I got the numbers right over here in my book.
No, that's fine. I wanted to make sure there was some source for it. I'm not questioning that you had a source.
I've got a couple of sources. In fact, I try to validate those sources all the time, and sometimes they're even higher than that. So
okay,
but there's not one study out there like I've done anyway. So you get back to the goal setting. We talk about goal setting. That's one of the courses that we also take. Performance Selling Revolution. Another course that we do, that we teach, that we go in and will help you identify. I love the book, Champions Never Make Cold Calls with Danny Creed. We use a lot of that information in there and the whole performance sales revolution about what you're going to do to understand who your market is, to actually develop an avatar or a picture of who those people happen to be and go after those people as the ideal client. Now, are there going to be people outside of that group that you're going to have as clients and customers? And you're going to absolutely. So we've got the sales, we've got the goal setting, we've got the BizMap Boogie, and then we've got several others that we can do right now that are just traditional business coaching, where we go in and through our process, and our process really gets into doing an assessment first. I ask 21 performance discipline questions as a business to see where you are on 21 disciplines. And then what I'm able to do is go in from those 21 discipline answers, and we identify you where you are on this continuum of a graph. Okay, whether if you're in creation, or if you're in chaos, or if you're basically out there in the control section where you've got some things put in place, but you don't have everything put in place. Those three C's right there, as far as creation, chaos, and control, is where a lot of businesses are right now. The fourth area is prosperity, where you can go away for a weekend, you can go away for a week, you got people that's going to take care of it. But the final area is freedom. Have you accomplished your goal where you're going to sell your business, where you're going to pass it down to the kids, or where you're going to become a bigger part of what you're doing. Those are the 5 areas that we start out with regarding what you can do to assess your organization. On top of that, we look at the people who are individuals running the organization, whether it's the owners or the leaders. We do DISC assessments to find out how they want to be communicated with, what they bring to the table. One of the great things I know about the DISC assessments that we use are it shares with you what your strengths are, what you should work on, but what do you bring to the organization? And understanding all of that to fire up a team to get your goals accomplished is important, which brings up our final thing that we teach that we're in the process right now doing 3 of these sessions is communication. How are you communicating? 1, internally, 2, externally, and then 3, how are you actually building your brand to communicate who you are? So if you look at what we're doing, BizMap Boogie, okay, unique selling proposition, performance selling, goal setting, and communication. That's what we do right now. And then general business to take you all the way through the process from creation to chaos, control to prosperity to freedom.
Where can someone access all this information, Mark? What's the easiest place?
Yeah, good question. Theperformancecoach.biz. We're all about business, so theperformancecoach.biz. And remember, I told you there's 21 questions associated with the performance discipline that we do for all business assessments. And to do that, you can just jump right to it by going to 21Q, 21 questions, 21Q.biz. We're all about business. It's .biz, 21Q.biz. You can take a free assessment.
We'll put it in the show notes. Ooh, free. I like free.
Yeah, free. Well, most people do. I like to say, instead of free, I like to say no cost to you because it's not free. We got costs on
there.
There
you go. Fair enough. All right, Mark, you ready for the Bob Graham experience?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have any water with me, so I'm all right. So we'll see.
Okay. You'll be fine. I know. 5 questions, like short answers if at all possible. If you have to go longer, it's fine. First thing, what's the last thing you read?
Last thing I read. Last thing. Man, I've been reading so much. Let's go with Champions Never Make a Cold Call.
Okay, Champions Never Make a Cold Call. Great book. Next question. Your most important inspiration?
I think my wife. I think, she helps me do everything that I get done. So she inspires me.
Okay, nice. I like that. Your biggest daily challenge?
Focus. I get pulled a lot of ways, and focus is something I have to work on. Hence the book we're working on right now called Get Off Your Donkey.
And you're one of those guys who has a million ideas at any given time, so it's even harder, I think.
Yeah, some people, and I probably should take pills for that. So.
What's your guiding principle?
My guiding principle is my faith-based, and understanding what I want to do to make this world better, and I want to do it through small businesses.
Okay, nice. And then the skill you didn't know you had that you rely on frequently now?
The skill I didn't have that I rely on frequently now.
Or you didn't know you had?
Right. I want to say the creative side. What I talked about today, guys, has been a lot of the quantitative stuff. However, throughout my career, I've run ad agencies. I've put creative people together, and I've got a little creativity as far as what we can do for design. So.
Okay, and a bonus question here.
Oh, boy.
What's one book that you would recommend to everyone?
What?
One book that you'd recommend to everyone.
I think the E-Myth is fabulous. The whole E-Myth about understanding what makes a business person's mind tick between being a technician, a manager, and an entrepreneur. The E-Myth is fabulous.
Awesome. Well, I've got good news for you, Mark. You survived the Bob Graham experience. Hey, there it is.
Hey, fresh off the Olympics, I'm feeling good.
That's it. So is there anything else you want to share? You've shared a lot with us. Did I stop you at any point, or was there anything that you wish you could amplify a little bit.
No, I just I think you did a great job. Thank you for inviting me. And, I just want to let everybody know that basically we are, I am the performance coach. We're here to help you. And, if you get stuck in what you're doing or you just want to grow your company, we are business growth experts. And we partner with, when you partner with us, you're going to accelerate that growth and enhance that profitability. That's what we do.
I would agree. And I tell you, one of the things, just talking to Mark, every time I talk to him, he inspires me, he motivates me, he listens and hears things that I say to him that I didn't know I said or things I didn't say. And he calls me on them. And it's been really, really valuable to me in my professional development. So it's so great that I got to share you with our audience. And you're a guy that if someone calls you and just wants to talk to you and get a quick, hey, Mark, heard you on there, love to chat for a minute, you'll do that, right?
Oh, I'm happy to do that too. And I always like to leave people with something, Bob, and I'll leave you with something that I just was reminded of yesterday too. One of the other things we do teach that we didn't talk about was leadership. We talk a lot about leadership, and here's my point to you, and it's Maxwell.
Okay.
So if you think you're a leader, no one's following you. You're just out taking a walk. So we do more than just take walks. We want you to come join us and see what we can do to help you out.
I like that. How'd you know? Right after this, I'm going to take a walk.
Good for you.
Timing's perfect. Thanks again, Mark. This is really great. Folks, we will be back with another episode. You can also go back to our catalog of old episodes. Some other great people like Mark that really bring insights into how you can be more effective as a leader, as a business owner. So we'll be back real soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was the Bob Graham Experience. Want to be a guest and experience it for yourself? Visit thebobgrahamexperience.com to get on the list. And of course, please rate us and listen to other episodes wherever you had the Bob Graham Experience. Until next time.